Hey guys, it's Pineapple, you know what it is. We're back to talk about the next top 5 unsolved mysteries or unanswered questions left in My Hero Academia. And you know how I like to start these off with a bonus question for the viewers. So for you guys, I want to know in the comment section below, how did the first user know how to transfer One For All to the second user if the only way to transfer it is through DNA transfer? How did that work? How'd that happen? You know, we're really getting to it in this episode over there. That's one of the deepest questions, right, in the fandom. How did they know? What happened there? Hori? Explain. Now, right off the bat, I want to set the like goal for the next video. It's going to be 600 likes and 100 comments. And yeah, if you want to see this video series continue, definitely hit that like goal, and you're going to see another part just appear magically in your subscriber box. If you're subscribed, which you definitely should be, subscribe, hit all notifications. Please do that. If everyone does, you know, we'll hit 300K by the end of the year, which I'm hopefully trying to do. So we're back on track of uploads and everything. We're going to be uploading daily as much as possible. You see, we've been doing it for almost 3 weeks straight now. So let's keep it going. I'm feeling inspired. We got a lot of content left to go, and let's start talking about these questions after that intro. Hit it! So the first unsolved mystery or unanswered question left in My Hero Academia to answer is, who is America's new #1 hero after the end of Star and Stripes, right? We know that in My Hero Academia Season 6, maybe they'll get to it. I don't think so, right? I think that's kind of stretching it with the length of the war arc. But as long as the war arc is, you know, it is mostly fight. So it really kind of depends on how quickly they adapt that, right? And how, if they try to fit it all in one core, how that goes. Because if they do, I do think you could fit Vigilante Deku with half a core, and or like maybe just most of one, or like a part of the season, right? That's what a core is, 12 episodes. And then you could fit Star and Stripe versus Shigaraki like at the very, very end. Like it could literally be an episode, just like kind of the High End versus Endeavor arc, right? It's kind of that length, I believe. But yeah, after the loss of Star and Stripes, we know that Star and Stripe kind of had one of the most broken quirks. Like it's a nutty, ridiculous quirk. Very different from the quirks that we've seen so far in My Hero Academia from the Japanese superheroes, right? Does that ring true? Does that weirdness of quirks also ring true to like other quirks in America, right? Like, is it just that Star and Stripes is like a very specific case? Or can you expect weirder, or I guess like more complex quirks in America, right? Maybe there's something in the water in the America of this fictional universe, right? Maybe that's a whole like conspiracy theory in and of itself, but like, I wonder if that is a thing, right? Where quirks in America or quirks in various other countries just have like a little bit of a different kink to them, right? Like they're just a little different. There's kind of like, you can categorize them. Like maybe Japan has way more elemental style quirks and like, you know, transformation style quirks or something like that, whereas America has way more restriction and condition based quirks, right? And like, I think that would be an interesting thing to explore in the lore of My Hero Academia, like why that would be the case, or like what it is about the different populations that would do that. But nonetheless, that's probably not something that we're going to get into before the end of the story. What I do hope we get into though is, who is Star and Stripes' replacement, right? I do kind of, at the end of the series, want to see more of like the international hero rankings and stuff like that. Maybe we'll get to see that after the end of the series and Horikoshi does like a final data book, because there has to be one more data book for the series to kind of go from My Villain Academia onwards to the end of the manga, right? So I do expect one more big data book like Ultra Analysis, and I forget what the first one is called. So in that, maybe we'll get information on the other top 10 rankings of other countries and like pictures and stuff of those heroes, but I wouldn't count on it. But I just really want to know, honestly, what the hero who replaced Star and Stripe was like. Like, is it just Captain Celebrity? Is Captain Celebrity the new #1 hero again? I thought maybe he got canceled in between the time of Vigilantes and this story, right? But it seems like Star and Stripe just like far and away surpassed him in everything that he can do, right? Because yeah, you're super strong. Yeah, you can fly, you know, cool. Star and Stripe can do that and way more. She can turn into a giant atmospheric form. So I definitely understand why Captain Celebrity was overshadowed by Star and Stripe, but I wonder if now, much like Endeavor, after the fall of the #1 hero, if he's going to now have to pick up the slack and prove himself, right? Because we could see a story very much like how Endeavor had to prove himself after the fall of his biggest rival, All Might, kind of paralleling and kind of echoing across the water in America, if that is the storyline that ends up happening with Captain Celebrity. And I guess it could happen in our heads, because I don't think Horikoshi's going to do that, but that sounds like a fun kind of follow-up fan manga, right? If someone wants to write a Captain Celebrity manga, there's your plot. Trying to be the Endeavor of America, right? By picking up the slack where your American-based, you know, Star and Stripey, All Might-inspired hero lost to All For One / Shigaraki. That would be really cool. The second unsolved mystery left in My Hero Academia this week is going to be, is there an optional hero college in the world of My Hero Academia. And what's that like? So we know that there is Hero School. We know that to a certain extent we've seen like students and children in like lower classroom settings. I don't know if that was like a hero classroom or whatever the hell, or maybe just that is part of basic education, is teaching people how to use their quirks and how to suppress their quirks. Once you get to the high school level, you have to either go to UA or one of the other big hero schools, and you get a provisional license. And I'd imagine when you graduate UA, you get your full-on hero license, right? But I wonder if there's like a higher level of education, right? Because you know, in our world, there's anything that you want to do in life, you can go to school for it, and you can keep going back and learn more and more and like enhance your skills more and more. So I wonder if there is that equivalent in the world of My Hero Academia when it comes to quirks, right? Is there quirk college? Pretty much is what I'm asking, right? Could you get a master's in quirks? Right? There definitely has to be some sort of quirk sciences. At the very least, that would, I think, be a very, very popular subject among colleges, right? The science of quirk sciences. So just through that, I think there would have to be some sort of quirk universities for people to kind of study that. But in that curriculum, do you also have heroics, right? Like superhero stuff? And if so, would that be something that you guys are interested in seeing somehow, right? Like, would you guys be interested in seeing quirk college? Like, I know everyone kind of wants a part 2 of My Hero Academia, but some people are conflicted on whether or not they want it to be like college or they want it to just be them out in the streets being pro heroes. It could be a mix of both, right? But I do think there is some merit to the idea of like quirk college in the world of My Hero Academia, right? Like really, really learning hands-on from like pro heroes while you have the ability to actually serve as a hero because you're actually licensed heroes, right? What would a college of heroes even look like? That's kind of like one of my most interesting questions, I think, for this week. Could there be an optional hero college in My Hero Academia? And we know to a certain extent there are programs for people who are adults already or who didn't go to hero school who want to get their hero license, right? We pick up on that a little bit in My Hero Academia Vigilantes, where Koichi is offered the ability to pretty much take a course or something. I forgot what it was specifically, but Popstep told him that he could get his hero license in his adulthood. And I just wonder like if there are more in-depth versions of that program, right? Or if that program itself is kind of like a quirk college, quirk GED sort of program, right? I don't know. I really enjoyed college and the campus life, so I could only imagine how crazy it would be if everyone was flying around or doing nut stuff with superpowers. Unsolved mystery number 3 in the series of My Hero Academia left to solve is, will UA eventually connect to Shiketsu High for a part 2 to the hero's plan for battle? We know it was mentioned very, very early on in this arc, where like kind of like in the setup portion of this arc, that Shiketsu and UA have a way of connecting to each other, right? UA can fly and it can connect to Shiketsu and become like a bigger thing, right? We don't know what it's going to become, but those are kind of like one of the very few things that we know about this kind of giant redesigned portion of UA that's flying around and operating as like a cage for Shigaraki. But you have to think that if the plan was to cage Shigaraki in the UA battlefield, right, and have him in this giant cage that is flying, and it's probably not just floating, it's probably heading somewhere, I would imagine, right? And if it's going to head anywhere, it's likely that it's heading to Shiketsu. But what happens when it gets there, right? Like, do we get a whole new wave of heroes and a whole new wave of students jumping in to help? Like, does Ketsubutsu Academy or whatever it is, the other one, the other kind of important academy, I forgot what it's called, but like, there's another important school in the series that we've seen. I think it's the one that Shindo goes to. Shindo doesn't go to Shiketsu, as far as I imagine, as far as I remember, right? So will they also kind of be involved in any way? Like, are they going to form a giant Megazord with all the schools? What are they planning on doing? Are they planning on, like, forming a new Tartarus using the campuses of the schools? And if they do, what's going to be left after that, as far as like if you want to go to Hero High? Are they going to have to build brand new ones? I guess they could, because Cementos is kind of busted, it seems like. He's just taking everyone's jobs, clearly. But like, yeah, how is that going to work? Like, do you think UA is flying towards Shiketsu? Do you think that they're going to collide together? I want to know in the comment section below. And do you think when they do, they're going to fuse? And what do you think they're going to form when they fuse? And how do you think that's actually going to help the fight? Because if the plan is to capture Shigaraki and to stop him in the UA base, you have to assume that whatever is going on at Shiketsu when they bring him over is going to continue in helping in that, right? And I know Inasa could be probably good against Shigaraki because he has air, right? And he can't be hit. So that's kind of one thing that I'm excited to see. And I also kind of miss seeing the characters from Shiketsu. Like, Cammy could be useful with her illusions. Meatball could turn all the giant hands of, Shigaraki into meatballs and kind of like, I don't know, eat them. And yeah, I'm just interested in what's going to happen when UA gets to Shiketsu. That is one of the biggest questions I've kind of had, like, since the base started flying, and I assume we're heading in that direction, but Still to be seen, so that's why that is one of my biggest questions. Question number 4 in this Unsolved Mystery series is going to be, what did All For One do to Spinner, and where will his story go from here, right? We know that Spinner has been very reluctant to follow All For One to a certain extent, right? Because Spinner's loyalties lie with Shigaraki. We saw that early on. I guess you didn't really see it last season because I believe Bones cut it out. But in the manga of the My Villain Academia anime, Spinner is kind of the main focus, right? Like, Twice, you could say Twice is the main focus, you could say Shigaraki is the main focus, but what I should say is Spinner is like the narrator. He's like the perspective the story is being told from at that point, right? You know how we follow Deku, Hori was like, okay, let's switch to the villain's Green Boy now, and have him narrate and tell this part of the story. So in that arc, we have Spinner very much being disillusioned with Shigaraki and the whole League of Villains, and being kind of like, I thought we were going to change the world, I thought we were going to change things and do things and follow Stain's, you know, ideology and all this stuff, and now, like, we're eating trash and going around attacking like random thugs and like doing nothing. We're not really we're losers. We're kind of losers right now. Like what is this? And Shigaraki eventually proves himself clearly by the end of the arc to Spinner by gaining the Liberation Army and doing all the things that he did. So in My Hero Academia Season 6, we're going to see, you know, Spinner being very, very loyal to Shigaraki as a result of that, and playing a very, very clear role in establishing, like, that he is a support role to Shigaraki to a large extent, because he's chosen where his loyalties lie. Well, now in the manga, we have the situation where Shigaraki isn't quite himself, right? So that kind of puts Spinner in a weird situation, and then you have All For One, who's kind of in control of everything, right? Who's pretty much put Spinner in the situation where he has to lead all of the mutant quirk users and kind of be a spokesperson for the Metal Liberation Army, like kind of being the new Redestro to a certain extent. So you would think that that would give Spinner a lot of like power and a lot of like influence, right? And maybe he could move some pieces on the board finally, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, because when we see Spinner last, he looks roided out. Like, he looks like his brain is not functioning on more than just a basic level. Like, All For One gave him some sort of quirk or some sort of ability to make him actually threatening, and his eyes are whited out. He's giant and hunky now and everything. He has his sword again, I believe. Like, he looks like a danger now, suddenly, for the first time. He looks like a little tiny mini Godzilla. But if his mind is like any less there, if he's any less rational and able to make his own decisions, I wonder if that was done by All For One to kind of take away a level of power that Spinner might have, right? Because if Spinner has the undying loyalty of the Metal Liberation Army and most of the kind of the mutant quirk user populace who feels like they're under someone's thumb all the time, if he could convince them, for whatever reason, that All For One was not the person to follow, that like Shigaraki was the person to follow, and then kind of take some of that control away from All For One, then that would sort of be a threat to All For One, I feel like, or that would at least be an annoyance that I don't think he wants to deal with, right? Because All For One is very much about, I want to be in control of all of this, and I don't think that Spinner in any way is really loyal to All For One, right? He's loyal to All For One through being loyal to Shigaraki, and just understanding that to a certain extent, Shigaraki did hold a very, very big importance in All For One at one point, and is sometimes now going along with everything that All For One's doing. But I don't think Spinner buys this whole situation and everything that's going on here, and I do think if Spinner had an opportunity to help in saving Tenko and in saving Shigaraki from All For One's influence, he would find a way to do that. So that makes me question, where is Spinner's story going? Will he betray All For One somehow? And is he even capable of doing that now? Because we don't know what All For One did to him, but he could very much have him in like a Lady Nagan situation, right? Once you give someone a quirk and you're All For One, they really, really do owe you and have to listen to you, because he could potentially just blow you up. And the final question in this video of Unsolved Mysteries in My Hero Academia is going to be a big question. We've been asking it. We don't know. We can't find him. I've been calling him. I've been looking for him. He's nowhere to be found. Has to be in one of these other locations on the battlefield maybe, because where is Mirio? Where are you, buddy? Where is Mirio? That is the biggest question I feel like in My Hero Academia right now. Actually, a lot of the stuff has been solved. Where is Mirio? We have all these different battlefields, all these different characters fighting each other. Mirio had that very, very lackluster return in the last arc, in the war arc in My Hero Academia. And now in this arc, you have the perfect opportunity to have Mirio at the forefront, right? Like, Deku isn't even in the area where Shigaraki is, right? Like, sure, that gives Bakugo an ample opportunity to shine here alongside Genis and everyone in Mirko if they all don't get destroyed by weird, too many hand Shigaraki. But like, Mirio would be the perfect person to have in the zone against Shigaraki. He could dive through all the hands and stuff. He could be teleporting everywhere in this limited space. People were replying to a tweet that I posted talking about, what if he falls through UA? He's not going to be able to get back up. That's ridiculous. Why would he fall more than 10 feet and not let himself go back up? That's kind of silly, guys. Come on. Like, you know how much distance is between the ground of, you know, the ground level of UA and the giant rocks that are at the bottom of that giant floating base, there's no way Mirio's falling through. All he has to do is reactivate his quirk. We know that Mirio's quirk lets him pretty much go in the ground, turn it back on, and shoot himself out in a way that pretty much teleports him. Like, he would be a very, very big annoyance to Shigaraki here. And I feel like that is definitely a way of revitalizing his character arc, because we know that he has all these comparisons to All Might. We know that he was the person that was originally chosen for One For All. But now if he poses the threat to Shigaraki, or if he's able to delay him for Deku to get there and allow Deku to kind of have a great moment again, that shows, oh, wait a minute, no, Mirio wouldn't have done it like that. No, Deku's pretty awesome. And maybe even having them work together to fight against Shigaraki, like have Mirio last this time. You know, actually survive this time until Deku gets there and not be like out of it and still be ready to go, and have Mirio, Deku, and Bakugo all fighting Shigaraki together. I feel like we would all want to see that to a certain extent. Where is Mirio? I'm trying to keep a straight face, but like, where is Mirio? Do you think he's at Shiketsu? Do you think he's like dealing with Spinner? Where is he? We have the other members of the big three. We haven't seen that Mirio is in any of these other battlefields. He doesn't seem to be in the Dabi battlefield, doesn't seem to be in the Toga battlefield, doesn't seem to be where All For One is, doesn't seem to be where Shigaraki is. So where is Mirio, right? Like, where is Mirio? Is Mirio the Aoyama of this arc, where in USJ we had no idea when all the portals happened where Aoyama was the whole time, then at the end he was like, you don't even want to know where I was? Is that what Mirio's gonna do at the end of this arc? Just be like, oh man, guys, I put in so much work during that war. Whoa, you don't even know what I just had to take care of. Whew. Thank God I dealt with Gigantomachia myself. Like, please don't do that. Please show us what Mirio is doing. I would love if Mirio was on Machia duty or something. Give him something important to do. Please. Where is Mirio? That's my biggest question, where I'm leaving you guys off on this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. It's Pineapple again. Hit that 600 likes and 100 comment goal so we can do the next video. And yeah, we'll talk about something interesting. Tomorrow is Momoto Mondays. We're going to be talking about Zatch Bell. And I might have a video talking about how many chapters I think My Hero Academia 6 will cover. We'll see if I can squeeze that in tomorrow. But yeah, if not, that's going to be coming soon. So subscribe, like the video, do all the stuff, go in the comment section below, answer all these questions, please, the best way that you can, if you have any reasonable explanations, because I'm lost, y'all. So I'll see you guys later. It's Pineapple. Peace.